Okay, in this video we're going to be checking out the Nidici XF3 frame. This is the version 2. It's been updated as of August 2018. I did a review of the version 1 that didn't go so well, but I got a crash, a pretty minor crash really, and broken arm. Plus there were some other problems with that frame. So we'll go ahead and we'll take the parts out of here. I'll put the frame together and I'll kind of go over the differences between the old frame and the new frame. And I'll put a card in the corner to the old video if you want to actually see images of that, because I actually don't have that old frame anymore. I actually tossed it in the bin because basically I broke the arm and that frame was no good. I did give the vendor, Nidici, a lot of feedback on what they should change, and it looks like based on the pictures that they incorporated a lot of those that feedback into their update here. So we're going to put this together and we'll see how this looks. Okay, so I got all the parts out of the bags and get a lot of hardware here. They've switched everything to M2 standoffs. They were using M3 standoffs before. Looks like all M2 hardware. And one of the problems with using the M3 in their design was the issue with basically there's no camera tilt available. That was a big problem, and there was like only one fixed angle, about 10-15 degrees, and that was not adjustable, and you were limited to what kind of cameras you use. So it looks like they addressed that. I think the arms are the same thickness as before, but I think they made them a little bit wider. I can't confirm that 100%, but that was one of my suggestions, was make the arms a little bit wider because they snapped too easily in the crash. These are 3mm thick, and I believe this is the same carbon that iFlight RC uses, so it ought to be pretty good. And I think that it's designed by Nidici, but they have this particular frame cut by iFlight RC, and they got an unusual cut there for the motor mount area. You can see it's kind of carved, and then it's flat on the bottom. So I guess this is to accommodate larger C-clips on certain motors, or certain motors with bigger shafts. So, and it also looks like it'll accommodate either 9mm hole pattern or 12mm hole pattern motor. So, so you have a wide variety of 3-inch micromotors you could use with this particular frame, which is nice. The bottom plate here and the top plate are all 2mm thick, and I believe the sandwich plate is also 2mm thick. Yeah, it looks like they're all 2mm thick. So I believe you can put the sandwich plate either on the top here or on the bottom. So you put the arms above or below the bottom plate, so that gives you different variety of builds there, and also the way what kind of size stack you can use, because I believe these are 22mm standoffs, so that's about the limit of your stack height. But if you put the arms inside the top of the bottom plate, then you're going to have a limited amount of space for your stack. So let's see what else. We got some press fit nuts here. I think these might be M3, so it looks like they're using some M3 screws to hold the arms on, and then M2 screws for the standoffs. Anyway, I'll go ahead and I'll put this together real quick, and we'll take a look at what the frame looks like and get a weight measurement. Okay, so here it is all assembled. Wasn't too difficult to put together. I elected to put the arms underneath the bottom plate, as you can see here, and put the sandwich plate below that. Basically, the only thing that's holding these arms on here, there's a sandwich plate to the bottom plate, is these 4 screws here. They're M3 screws. So I put the screws through the top, and then put obviously the press fit nut on the bottom, because that only fits the sandwich plate here. And that's what's holding it together. There's obviously the arms are butted up against each other. You can see here that also holds it together. There's a long M2 screw that goes through this other hole here. It's also an M3 hole that goes into your flight stack, but that's not really that doesn't really do in terms of structural support. It's just these M3 screws, just gonna make sure that those are nice and tight. And yeah, it's nice and stiff. It should hold up okay in a crash. We'll have to see. This does look wider than the old arms on the version 1, but that pretty much puts the arms onto the bottom plate here, and you want to make sure that this cutout here is facing upwards, because otherwise you might have issues with the C-clip or something hitting this if it's upside down. It's designed for this little cavity to be facing upwards for the bottom of the motor, so all the arms you can only go a certain way. If you put them in upside down, obviously you'll be able to tell. There's basically like this little notch right here, a little bump that you're going to line up the arms with. But that's the only thing that was a little bit confusing. That shouldn't be too difficult. And then you have these 8 standoffs here. They're M2 standoffs. They're actually 23 millimeters tall instead of 22. I thought they were 22. 22 is kind of a standard. It's like 20, 22. 23 is kind of a non-standard size. I think they raised that up because they put more effort and thought into the camera area. So you have a micro predator in here, and they put a little slot here so you can slide the camera back and forth, and you can get lots of camera tilt if you want. If you want to fly like that, you can do so. And since it's wider here, the opening's wider in the front, you have more different lenses. You could possibly use bigger lenses, smaller lenses, not as limited as you are in the version 1. So they fixed that problem. That's good. And it's very adjustable angle and also the depth. So you have different size. You know, some cameras are narrower than others, and some of them are longer. So this will definitely take care of that. So that's all good. Now that I elected to do the arms on the underneath the bottom plate, as you can see here, I have plenty of space for my flight stack, so I should be able to fit 3 boards in here, no problem, for a 4-in-1 AC flight controller and video transmitter. There is a little bit of space in the back here, not that much because it is kind of shrunken back, so you can't put a 20 by 20 flight controller or video transmitter back here. You're gonna have to use something else like a Nidici XF3 or something kind of like a more micro size. If you're gonna elect to put the arms on top, if you put the arms on top, you're going to probably only have space for 2 boards, and you'll have to use a micro video transmitter in the back. But I would recommend just going like this. Gives you more space, more flexibility, and of course you'll have room for your battery strap as well to go through here, because you'll need that as well. You have to account for that as well. In terms of the dimensions of the frame itself, 135 millimeters motor to motor, 115 millimeters side to side, 85 millimeters front to back. So it is an H-style frame, and obviously, you know, the alien style here, Martian style frames for your freestyle, so you're going to be putting your battery up on top here, sort of shrunken down 3-inch version of the Martian or alien style frame. Okay, so let's get a weight measurement, and this is of course with the camera. Subtract 6 grams for the micro predator, that's how much it weighs. So this frame weighs, without the camera, just the bare frame will weigh 40.3 grams. So take away 6 grams, so it's about 40.3 grams. Okay, so that's going to do it for this review of the XF3 version 2. I'm going to build this pretty soon with the motors that Nidici also sent. These are the Tachyon 1108 6000 kV motors, and I'll be doing this on a 3-inch prop. This is the T-style motor or the T-style prop I'm going to be using on this, so probably the Jump Van 3035 3-bladed prop. And yeah, that should be a pretty easy build. It's going to put a stick of flight stack on here, camera, and solder on the motor. Shouldn't be that difficult of a build. And should have that video out pretty soon, so stay tuned for that.